pornography, sexual preferences. Is masturbation okay? Not okay. I'm going to cover these topics in today's class. So let's start with porn. Because let's be honest, everybody's watching it. And not only are they watching porn, I think most cinematic content has almost become pornographic. All your Netflix shows, if you don't want to watch porn, you're watching enough movies and TV series which are way more psychologically heavy, which are deeply conditioning you. So is it good or bad? Does it matter? Can I just go on with my life? Because that's probably the only way in which you're tasting some erotic sensuality. Because let's be honest, why did porn even come up? Erotic literature was always there, at least in our civilization, in our culture. Books like the Kama Sutra, books like a lot of other, even if you read, there's Lolita, there are lots of erotic literature. Mills and Bones was there. There was a fundamental need for human imagination to have an outlet, even if it was erotic, even if it was sexual, right? As sex or erotica or physical intimacy was not something to be looked down upon. So maybe porn was started with the same intention, to give an outlet to people who were just living a drab, boring life sexually. Maybe. And maybe not. Maybe somebody realized this perversion in the human mind of mass consciousness, right? The voyeuristic instinct, the things that we want to do but we can't do because of social stigma, religious stigma, right? Taboos. But it's there in your mind. All that perversion is there. Somebody recognized that and put it out there visually. That if I'm enjoying and I have these dark thoughts around sexual experiences, then I'm sure many others do. And maybe that's how porn got created and somebody made money out of it. But let's talk about the deep repercussions, good and bad both. And there are both, let me tell you. A huge part of the world is very largely conditioned by religion and society, culture. We have only one format for relationships, even in India, that are acceptable socially, and that's marriage. No other format is very widely accepted. And that means monogamy. A lot of human beings are not monogamous. They don't buy into that. Then they resort to having affairs, extramarital affairs, sexual perversion, violence is all happening. Molestations, rapes. Because sexuality is not freely expressible. Let's start with teenagers though. Because I think that's the biggest impact time for porn. So, what kind of an impact does porn have on the teenage mind? Let's start with that and the need for porn at that age. So, let's understand the male biology is different from the female, and I'll address both. Male biology is just bursting at the teenage time. It's coming into its masculine energy, which is very, very hypersexual, right? Because that's the time, really, of change, and change is chaotic. And that's the time he has to study, he has to learn his subjects, but two contradictory things are happening at the same time. And there is no school where he's going to get educated on this, not in today's times. So, porn becomes an outlet. Dirty magazines, Playboy, all this becomes an outlet for teenage boys to get release that expression of energy that's happening within him. Not only that, he also finds a way in the relationships that he has with girls at that time to express that. And when the boys are not trained well or educated well at that time, they will carry a lot of toxic behaviors towards the girls in schools, right? In the little young budding relationships that get formed at that time, or when they fall in love. It's primarily sexual need. I don't think boys even recognize feelings of love at that age. They just want to experience all this. So watching porn can also, I don't know, help keep that person in balance at that age. But it can have a very, very long-term impact on the brain of this boy. Because his entire view of sexuality is being framed by these imageries. And because there is no control in this domain and they can watch everything and anything, the brain gets so deeply impressioned by these images that they think this is what is needed in the life ahead. So not only will they have a hard time staying in a relationship, they will get used to a variety of sexual partners. They will also have a hard time being a normally sexually active person because the brain is seeking the dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin hit that it got when it saw that porn video, which is totally delusional because that is not real. That is not real. That is not how human beings interact in a regular sexual experience. But because you watch so much porn, you will seek those and you will be very, very unfulfilled and unhappy with partners that cannot give you that sexual experience. And then maybe you'll keep changing the partners. You'll be very frustrated and irritated in your relationship, or you'll keep changing your partners. So, sex becomes a performance-based activity instead of an intimate act of divine love that I talk about in Sambhog. That's why I've created this program, because I think there's a huge need in today's time and age, especially to conduct this activity really well in our life. So teenage boys should be very careful when they're watching porn because they're setting up the theme for their whole life. And that's why maybe parental guidance can come. Fathers can help their teenage boys really talk about all this. Talk about his need for sexual expression. He's becoming a man now. Stop treating him like a boy. His body is prepared to get somebody pregnant. That means he is almost a man. Stop babying them. Give them the right advice, empower them, teach them how to treat the girl that they're dating or exploring intimacy with. Don't snub them, don't shame them, don't kill them for watching porn. Healthy teenage love experiences should be encouraged, in my opinion, so that they're not going to hotels, so that they're not going to unsafe places, prostitutes, brothels, getting involved in, physical sexual activities that could lead them into trouble. Because the need to explore at this age is very high, and if repressed and not conducted well, it can either lead to a total fall down of sexual energy. In many cases, I see people are so closed down around this act that they remain virgins even till their mid-30s because they're afraid of sex. Because all throughout their childhood, no one educated them around it. Nobody encouraged such experiences. A healthy sexual experience was not something that was propagated.